Fox 61 News at 10 starts now.
We're tracking sleet and freezing rain tonight, which could make for some tough conditions on the roads. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
I'm Sarah Sanchez. Yeah, it is icy out there. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank is here with the latest on the forecast. So, Rachel, when is this messy mix moving on out?
It will be done between 2 to 4 o'clock in the morning. Lots of pink out there on the radar right now, most of which is rain, but which is falling into the ground, which is below freezing. So that's forming an icy glaze on any untreated surfaces. So if this ends between 2 to 4 a.m., why do we have a weather impact alert in effect until 7 a.m.? I still think it's possible that even after this moves out, that there could be areas of black ice, some slippery spots, and you might need some extra time just to kind of scrape the ice off your car. It might make a little igloo on top of it. And don't throw anything at the TV set, but there is a chance for some school delays if they need to kind of dig those buses out of that layer of ice. Here's a look at temperatures right now. We are above freezing for Danbury, Bridgeport, New Haven, Groton, Norwich. In these areas, it is not freezing rain, it is just rain. But everywhere north of that, again, things are getting iced up, have been and will continue to be. Luckily, road treatments do really, really well with temperatures like that. But again, anything that's untreated is definitely at risk of being an ice skating rink. Here's a look at the radar. And again, you can see the back edge of it right here. So through the overnight hours, things will come to an end. Cloudy skies, then we break for sunshine tomorrow, but areas of black ice persist. And then by afternoon, temperatures will get up near 50 degrees. So it actually turns out to be a really nice day. We can put this in the rear view mirror. We are not expecting enough ice overnight so that you're waking up with power outages. Again, it's really just about those road conditions. We'll get a closer look at the forecast. Plus, if you are winter weather weary, some warmer temperatures down the line coming up.
That sounds good, Rachel. Thank you. Well, the weather outside for tonight remains wet, which becomes slick, and that's making driving conditions a little tricky out across the state.
Certainly. Our coverage continues from the Fox 61 Storm Tracker. Fox 61's Kay Pattyfoot joins us live now. So, Kay, what are you seeing out there? Is it icy?
Yeah, like you said, the commute is tricky. And about an hour ago, the exit on I-84 East, right before exits 48, there was a multiple car crash, and the center and middle lanes were both closed. Now it's moving. Traffic is moving. The roads are clear for the most part. Some cars are moving slow, cautiously because of the slick roads, but it's moving. There's not many cars out here, but the ones that are on the road are not traveling as fast. And earlier we did have crews out here, and they saw multiple car crashes. They saw cars pulling over just to be cautious. But as of now, cars are moving and no complaints so far. But coming up, we'll have more of an update on how the roads are looking. For now, live in the Storm Tracker, Kay Pattyfoot at Fox 61.
Thank you, Kay. State police are investigating a rollover tractor trailer crash right now in Barkhamsted. Troopers are on Route 219 near Ratlem Road. The truck rolled over, but police say no injuries were reported. If you have to drive through the area, you're asked to use an alternate route.
And you can stay up to date on the latest forecast 24/7 on Fox 61 Plus, our free streaming app. Download it now on your smart TV.
Well, we have an update for you tonight. About 2 weeks ago, we told you a step was taken to bring a claim against the state in the Waterbury captivity case. We requested the document from the state, and we just received it. The document asks for permission to file a claim and was filed by a conservator on behalf of the man who's been identified as S. More than 1 year ago, police say S set fire to a home where he says he was being held captive by his stepmother, Kimberly Sullivan, for more than 20 years. The claim filing we received includes Sullivan's arrest warrant and the summary report from DCF. S's conservator cites the DCF report and statements from S's former elementary school principal, who has said the school called DCF at least 20 times. The document goes on to say the claim against the state is, quote, just had since DCF properly investigated the claim, S would have been freed, allowed to live a normal life outside captivity without torture or abuse, end quote. In a statement, S's conservator says this filing is procedural and ensures that should S decide to make claims against the state, he has the right to do so. We've reached out to DCF for more comment. Well, the man who was shot by a Hartford police officer last week died this afternoon.
55-year-old Stephen Jones, who the family says went by Stevie, was pronounced dead at 3:03 p.m. The Office of Inspector General says last Friday a family member called 911 after Jones cut himself with a knife. And when officers arrived, they found Jones on the front stoop of his home with that knife. The Inspector General says officers asked him to drop it multiple times. At one point, an officer tried to deploy his taser, but it was unsuccessful. More officers arrived on scene. Police say Jones approached them with the knife in his hand, and that's when Officer Joseph Magnano fired his gun 9 times. Now today, Jones' sister, along with Scott Esdale, who is president of the Connecticut NAACP, spoke on behalf of the family.
Steve Jones has passed away, and we are deeply, deeply saddened that he has been killed by the Hartford Police Department. And we are in constant conversation right now with Attorney Ben Crump. The family requested that the Connecticut NAACP reach out to Attorney Ben Crump to look into this matter.
My brother is a good person. He helped a lot of people. He's always there for everyone, and he was a good brother to me.
Now, Ben Crump is a lawyer who has represented the families of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, among many others. Esdale says the family will speak more about what happened at a later date. He also says the NAACP will mobilize more things in the future following Jones' death. Esdale says they have concerns regarding the Hartford Police Department after Jones' death because just a week earlier, another man was shot and killed by a Hartford officer.
Yeah, over the past couple of weeks, there have been 2 shootings stemming from emotionally disturbed persons' calls. Fox 61's Alicia Hercules takes a closer look at the protocol for officers in these situations.
City officials say police only get involved in these calls if there's a threat of violence. So far this year, the Hartford Police Department says it responded to more than 300 calls for an emotionally disturbed person without any notable incidents.
Hey, drop the knife. Drop the knife.
The Hartford Police Department says it responds to multiple emotionally disturbed person or EDP calls a shift. Just last year, they responded to more than 1,500 calls. Hartford Mayor Arunan Arlampalam says the city's emergency assistance response team typically responds to EDP calls.
We continue to try to expand our mental health response here at the city to ensure that there's a non-police response to incidents like these when possible.
But officers get involved if there is an active threat of violence to themselves or others.
In both these cases, there was an attempt to get that mental health response in the Capitol Ave case. That was a first response there, and they felt like they couldn't be successful, and that's when they asked for police to step in.
In the police shooting on Blue Hills Avenue, the mayor says they attempted to get mental health professionals there.
When the victim stepped out on the street with a knife, it just escalated very quickly because of the safety of those surrounding, and they were not able to get there in time.
He adds that police tried to de-escalate the situation first. However, Josh Michtam, a city council member, says the city needs to review its methods.
You had people who were trying to do the work of de-escalation, and they were talking about de-escalation with their guns drawn.
Michtam thinks officers responding to these calls with guns is counterproductive.
Most of us have been alive too long and seen police operate too long to feel calmed with a gun on us.
He believes the city needs to take a deeper look at these responses beyond the scope of the Inspector General's reports.
Like, we have the mechanisms to say, was a cop to blame, but we don't have the mechanisms to say, what other steps can we take so that we don't have to do this analysis again.
The mayor says as they learn more information about both shootings, they will continue to evaluate their police response to EDP calls to make sure they're being handled safely and appropriately. In Hartford, Alicia Hercules, Fox 61.
The grounds of the U.S. consulate in Dubai was hit by a suspected Iranian drone today. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the drone hit a parking lot next to the Chancellery building and started a fire. Rubio says all consulate personnel are accounted for. The Dubai media office says the fire was quickly put out and no one was hurt. The U.S. and Israel are continuing their strikes on Iran as those tensions in the region intensify.
At the same time, the State Department is mobilizing resources to help evacuate Americans from the area amid growing safety concerns. Caroline Shively has the latest.
As the fighting ramps up, so does the urgency to get Americans out of the Middle East. Smoke rising in Tehran as the U.S. and Israel keep pounding Iran with airstrikes. The IDF on Tuesday confirmed a strike on Iran's leadership complex, killing multiple officials who were in the process of selecting the next supreme leader. Meanwhile, the U.S. is taking out Iran's missile sites and military facilities.
You're going to really begin to perceive a change in the scope and in the intensity of these attacks as, frankly, the two most powerful air forces in the world take apart this terroristic regime.
President Trump with a new rationale for the initial strikes, now saying the U.S. led the charge.
They were going to attack if we didn't do it. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand.
That's a different take than Secretary of State Marco Rubio offered on Monday, suggesting the U.S. followed Israel's lead. The State Department has begun to evacuate Americans from the Middle East by planes and even buses.
We do hear fighter jets going overhead from time to time. You just really kind of take it hour by hour because things keep changing.
Amid the White House's mixed messaging, some Democrats are questioning the administration's endgame.
Is there a plan when the president says we'll bomb till we stop and then Iranians take over your government? That's a jump ball, is not a plan.
Lawmakers are already talking about the possibility of a supplemental spending bill to pay for the operations. A former Pentagon budget official estimates just getting U.S. troops and equipment to the region will cost $600 million. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
And meanwhile, a group of Connecticut pilgrims who were stranded in the Middle East have now safely returned home. The group, including Bishop Jeffrey Mello of the Episcopal Church in Connecticut, had taken shelter in Jerusalem before crossing into Jordan to wait for flights out of Amman. Church leaders say they arrived back in the United States today.